Hello, my name is Victoria McKean, and I will be presenting over the perception of ethnic minorities in the United States. So before I begin my presentation, I'd like to define what an ethnic minority is. And as defined by Scholastic Online, an ethnic minority is a group of people who are different in race, color, nationality, cultural origin, or religion from the dominant group of people that they live in, which in the United States would be, the dominant group would be the Caucasian group, and then the minorities would be people such as Latin Americans or Hispanics, people of African American descent, or Asian Americans, and that is a broad category which fits into either Arab people, Russians, Chinese, all that. So my research question is, has the perception of ethnic minorities in the United States had a positive change over the years? And my argument is, yes, it has. And for three main reasons. There's more higher education opportunities, more job opportunities, and there's been an acceptance of culture. So talking about higher level education, people, during the presidency of Lyndon B. Johnson, he imposed affirmative action, and affirmative action was created to improve the educational opportunities of these ethnic minorities. During his presidency, he focused more on the African Americans and the women's due to the discrimination that they had received throughout the civil rights movements. But as time went on, more and more ethnic minorities were included. So Native Americans, Hispanics, and other ethnic minorities. So in addition to affirmative action, new groups, new societies and organizations were created to give these lower income, lower social status groups or people more opportunities. So groups such as the National Association of Black Accountants, or the NABA, fund programs such as the U of H Residential Accounting Program, which gives them the opportunity to experience these opportunities that they may not in the classroom, and they also give scholarship funding. So now on to job opportunities. Because there's a higher education presented to the different minority groups, they later on are, because they have these different educations, go on to do more higher level jobs. They typically go into more advanced jobs, and they later on benefit the society as a whole. Okay, and there's also an increase in employment rate. So in 2007, the U.S. Department of Labor sent out a survey to 146,074,000 people, and within those participants, 4.7% of the Asian group said that they were employed, which is very drastic from the white population, which was 82% of them were employed. In a more recent study done by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, however, in 2016, the percentage of Asian Americans who were employed actually rose to 60.9%, which is a great difference in those 9 years. And they actually have a higher employment rate than African Americans and white people in the United States. Okay, so now on to the acceptance of cultures. In the United States, we have 87 different cultural festivals that are held, and a very popular one to go to is called Holi, which is a Hindu festival that celebrates the triumph of good over evil and also the passing of winter. And the majority of people that attend this festival are Hindu people, or people that practice some sort of Hinduism. But so in a survey conducted by the Washington Post, actually 80% of these people that went were in fact Hindu practitioners or people who practice Hinduism, but the 20% that remained were people of other different ethnicities and cultures, and actually the most prominent one left after Hinduism was the Mormons. And so this is really important to our society today, because many events that go on in the world were actually influenced by many of these cultural festivals, such as the very popular Color Run, which was influenced by the different color dyes that are thrown up in the air during Holi, and really the true spirit of the color run. And so this matters a lot of the ethnic minorities because the number of minorities is truly growing. In a recent study done by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, 44% of the millennial age group is actually identifies as an ethnic minority. So the true question here are there really ethnic minorities technically in the United States? And this is also something important to highlight because as a country to grow and benefit and strive, we really need to work together to understand the different cultures and different viewpoints of the different people in the country. Okay, so this connects to the simius material because in the Muslim women article, they were an ethnic minority or a minority of Muslims and women, and they were seen as oppressed by their own men and seen as they needed to be saved in a way because the views of the people who were saying this weren't taking into consideration the actual Muslim women. And this also relates to the historian because in the historian we see that different viewpoints actually add up to the perception, and this perception determines how we view different people throughout history, and it really builds our history. So my conclusion is that we should be more inclusive and more tolerant of these different ethnic groups and cultures, and some things we can do to impose this are maybe putting in world religion classes into the curriculum, taught at schools, and more festivals, cultural festivals. So some limitations to this would be that not everyone is tolerant, not everyone's open to coming in and learning about new different cultures, and so that could also lead to a limitation in the classroom or these festivals where people would not come or they would not select to be in these classes. And that concludes my presentation, and here are my works cited.
All right. So let me ask you. So what advice would you give others who are researching this topic?
Some advice I would give would probably be to look more into the specific different groups because I focused more like on a broad term. I looked at statistics, but I didn't look at like what these people believed in. Like the only true one I really looked into was Hinduism, and that's when I talked about the different cultural festivals or the festival and what they believe in and what truly like goes on in their culture. So I think maybe going into that and actually learning like a lot more about the different cultures would be pretty.
Okay. So how did your research question evolve from the beginning? Did it change from what you originally planned?
Originally, I knew I wanted to do something with ethnic minorities as soon as I read the Muslim women article, but I was more leaning towards technology in a sense and how technology has influenced our opinions on how we view ethnic minorities. But then I realized maybe I could go a little bit broader with it, not too specific, so maybe I just look at the perception as a whole rather than as in a technological